Hey folks, welcome back. So today we'll do a really quick and easy, simple astronomy video. If you own a smartphone and a pair of binoculars and some duct tape, you can do astrophotography, and I'll show you how to do in this video. Well, what you also need is some kind of way to fixate the binoculars. I'm using a microphone stand in my case, but be creative. Maybe even like a living room lamp could work. It just has to be somewhat stable, and you still have to kind of adjust the axis a little bit. But I'm sure you'll find something that will work for you. So let's try to stick the binoculars onto the mic stand. I would put it close to the center of gravity somehow. I'm really doing this on the go. Also, you'll only need like one of the two tubes of the binoculars. And on some models you can focus one tube, but you can't focus the second. So leave the focusable one open, if that makes sense. Okay, the binoculars is stuck. I hope this is good enough. Before we stick the smartphone on, I want to do a little bit of solar observation. I think there is a small sunspot today. Maybe we can manage to see it with this setup. But disclaimer ahead, sun observations are dangerous. Never look back into the beam. The sun is very powerful, and if you focus it on a small dot, it can really hurt your eye. So this here is basically the solar setup. As you see, I closed one of the eyes of the binoculars. I also needed to put some shading here, otherwise the projection would be in the full sunlight. You couldn't really see it good. Unfortunately, I can't see any sunspots. The one that should be around is just too tiny to make it out. It's very fiddly. I can show you a little bit. The whole setup is very fiddly. If you move this a tiny bit, the whole projection jumps all over the place. But it stays kind of stable as long as you don't touch it, and that's what we're working with here. Well, yeah, that didn't turn out that well. But here is a picture from the SOHO space probe from that day. So it would be that little tiny sunspot on the upper left edge of the sun. And yeah, that's impossible to see with this binocular setup. Even with my big telescope, this one would be difficult. Here, however, is an archive picture from when the sun was more active. It has like an 11-year cycle. And there can be these big sunspots. These are really massive. And I'm quite sure you could see these with the binocular setup. If you're interested in solar observation, check out the SOHO website, link in the description, and also Space Weather. Space Weather is a great homepage, also link in the description. I go there almost every day just to keep up with what's going on the sun. So let's do something else. Maybe a quick word about focusing before we put the smartphone on. We actually took this end here as our optical tube because it has a focuser. The other one is fixed, so for the solar projection this is kind of important because you really have to focus here, and it's a nightmare because everything bumps around all the time. But with the smartphone we have a little advantage in that the smartphone camera itself also has some focus ability, so it doesn't have to be perfect back here to work with the smartphone. It will be much easier. So this will be quite fiddly as well. Also maybe put it into flight modes before. Let's see. You just really have to get the camera to hit in the middle of the optical output. Also maybe try that you still can, use the phone actually. Don't tape down any buttons or any touchscreen parts. Okay, I think we're good. We can see trees in the distance. So let's point this thing to the moon and just see what we can do with the pictures. Oh, here we go. I found the moon. It's behind a branch that's in the foreground. Ah yeah, here you can see it too. There we go. Maybe with the video camera you would get better results, but we're doing this with the smartphone now. It's a bit small, and right now the tape is loosening itself. So I'll put it back together and then I'll try to take some pictures. Also maybe use the digital zoom of the smartphone a little bit. Yeah, let's look at those pictures now. This is from the smartphone now, what you see. Also one important thing, set a time delay to your trigger. I have it on 3 seconds now. And then about focusing, you just touch the moon on the touch screen. It should autofocus. Wait 3 seconds to, you know, get rid of vibrations. In general, it's worth it to set the settings to manual, you know, also exposure and ISO, all that stuff. Play around with that a bit, you can do quite a lot. Okay, this is daytime astrophotography on a very low budget for you. Yeah, almost everybody can do it. Let's wait for nightfall and maybe try some stuff at night. See how that goes. So now it's fairly dark. I got the floodlight out. I've got the moon on my smartphone through the binoculars. I had to go in really hard on the digital zoom, but it looks really cool. You see craters. It's good pictures. Also just saying, I did all this on a standard Android phone. It's a BlackBerry Key 1, it's nothing special. The camera is nice, but also nothing special. All the editing on the standard Android editing software, so really nothing special here. There are some special apps you can find. Just look for long time exposure apps or astrophotography apps. There's some neat stuff out there. Star trails, for example, or Milky Way stuff you can do also. Well, yeah, this here is a nice one. You actually see the dark side of the moon, or like the edge of the dark side of the moon. You kind of can see that almost until 50% illuminated moon. Now we're at, I don't know, 30 or so, I would say. So actually we're lucky tonight. This here is neat. This is the Pleiades star cluster on the top, and below the very bright one, that's Venus. Yeah, that's a nice capture actually. I played with the ISO settings a little bit, so that's why the colors go a bit crazy sometimes. And I managed to capture a satellite, like this series of pictures, that's a satellite moving through our field of view. So you can do really a lot with this binoculars and the smartphone. So this one here is Orion's sword, basically. It's right beneath Orion's belt, the 3 very bright stars in Orion, of course. This is where the nebula is, so let's try to find a hint of the nebula with the smartphone and the binoculars. Oh, here I was actually able to get Orion's belt and Orion's sword in the same frame. So you see 3 bright stars of Orion and the 3 bit fainter ones to the lower left side. Well, yes, that's about it. That's what I was able to do with my smartphone and a lot of duct tape and binoculars. I will start removing all the tape here now, and in the meantime I'd like to show you some other pictures. Well, I hope I could give you a little bit of an idea what you could try out at home with your smartphone, with binoculars, or even without. These pictures you see right now, this is only a smartphone. Thank you very much, Camera, for letting me using these. They're done by a very good friend of mine in Sri Lanka. And it's amazing what he does, only with a smartphone. You have to tweak it a bit, you have to try to get longer exposures out of your phone. There are some apps that let you do that, or sometimes you even can hack the phone. I heard of, I wouldn't do that myself, but yeah, it's an idea. Yeah, these are very beautiful pictures compared to mine. I think the Orion Nebula uses a telescope here, but it's still only smartphone. Most of the others are just wide field, only the smartphone. You can do a lot with your phone. I hope I could encourage some people to try this out. Leave me a comment if it turned out good, or even if it turned out bad for you. That would be really nice. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye.